All right, everyone. Last thing I want to talk about in terms of this new material is talking about how to export out of After Effects. All right, so this is the final exercise, which is exercise 14. It's a 5 second long animation, very basic. I just have a couple things going on. There's a car moving across the page. There's rotation going on with the arrow. There's this, there's a position and scale going on with the eagle or bird or whatever it's supposed to be. And what I want to do now is, so right now my project is an AEP file. Okay. The thing about AEP files is they only work inside of After Effects. Okay, so in other words, if you don't have After Effects, which most people don't, since most people aren't graphic designers or motion designers, then they wouldn't be able to open it. Okay, it does not open up in other common programs. So what we want to do is we want to export or convert this into a format that's more accessible to people. And what we're going to do is convert the AEP into a video format. Okay. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. Make sure that your timeline is selected. And what we're going to do is go to uh, composition, add to render queue. Okay. Um, I would not use okay. For now, I'm going to show you guys how to use the basic render queue. If you're using your own computer, you could install Adobe Media Encoder. This is an extra program whose purpose is to do a better job compressing the video into a smaller format. If you don't want to do that, or maybe you're on a computer, the school's computer, and you don't have that ability, you can just use the basic render queue. Okay, this is fine. Click Add to Render Queue. That's going to open this up. And what this is going to do is give you your, show you the settings of what your video are going to be. So the first are render settings. I'm going to click on this, and under export, make sure quality is set to best and resolution is set to full. This would mean that you're going to get the best quality in your video and that it's going to be at a full resolution as opposed to a half or a third resolution. The rest of this we're not going to worry about at the moment. Next is, where is the video going to output to? Okay, if you click on the little blue text, you can state where you want it to go. I'm setting it up to my desktop. Where you want to export it is up to you. If you are using the school's computer at Chabot, you may have to set it to the downloads folder because that might be the only one you have access to. In which case, set this to downloads or wherever the downloads folder is. Okay. I'm just going to keep mine on the desktop. This is also the name of the file. Defaultly, it's usually the name of your composition. If you want to change that, you can change it to whatever you want. My export. Okay, so this is going to be my file. And then finally, we're going to choose what format we're going to export as a video. That's under Output Module. I'm going to click here, and we're not going to worry about most of this. Main thing is make sure it's set to RGB, make sure it's set to millions of colors if it's not already to that. And then the major thing here is what video format you want to use. Um, so video formats are kind of like image formats. There's different ways of saving video data. Um, Part of that has to do with what video encoding codecs are installed on your computer. So this is a computer specific thing, okay? If you're a Mac user, you probably can export as QuickTime, and you may or may not be able to export as H.264. If you're using Windows, you're most likely going to be able to export as AVI, and you may or may not have QuickTime. I'm not sure. It depends on the setup of your computer. Okay. So what I would do is go under Format and then find one of those formats. I would recommend if you have H.264, like if you're running from a Mac, use that. I think that's a better format. It compresses it to a smaller file format or a smaller file size, which is beneficial. If you don't have that, QuickTime is fine. I would not use any of these others for now. We'll talk, There are cases where you might want to sequence, but not, that's a little bit more specific than I want to talk about right now. So let's just use QuickTime and I'm going to hit OK. So I've set my settings to full quality. I've set the name of the file, the video file, and where it's going to go to, which is going to be my desktop. And then I chose the format, which is going to be QuickTime. Let's hit render. And that blue line represents my rendering. When I'm done, the video gets exported. So there's my file. If you have QuickTime Player on your computer, you can watch it. Let's use VLC. All right, there's my file. It's a little bit stagnant there. I'm not sure why. The reason why we want to do this is what's going to happen from now on is when you guys submit me labs and major projects, I'm going to want you to give me the AEP file. That's so I can look at the settings you did of your project and all that. But I also want you to export it as a video. Now, I don't want your exported video because exported videos tend to be very large files. Notice how this one very basic 5-second video is like, almost 6.5 MB, which is a lot. Once you start getting into longer, and if you're using like an HD format or whatever, that file size is going to grow exponentially. I don't want to have to deal with like really large files. So what I want, I asked you guys on day one to set up like a YouTube or a Vimeo account. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So I'm already logged into my YouTube account. And what I would do is I'm going to go under Create, Upload Video. And let's upload that video that we just exported out of After Effects. So I saved it to my desktop and I called it my export. YouTube should be able to work with most major formats, including AVI, QuickTime, H.264. You can put a name. You can put a description if you want to. You can put a thumbnail if you want. If this is for me, I don't care. But if you want to do that for yourself, just make sure it says not made for kids. That gets you through a lot of legal loopholes, a lot of legal questions. Then you go to next. You can either set it to unlisted or public. Public means it would be searchable on YouTube. I'm assuming the same as for Vimeo. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to research that. Unlisted means it will not show up in a list. Like if you did a Google, a YouTube search, it wouldn't come up. But still anyone can access it as long as there's a video link. Private would mean you got to give me the password, and I'd rather we don't do that. Just set it up as unlisted if you're worried about it coming up. I mean, you shouldn't really do anything that you don't feel comfortable sharing with other people, hopefully. Hit save. I'm just going to publish it. And then this is your video. So I'm going to copy this. And then that's the video. Okay. So, what will happen is when you guys do labs and things for me, you will once you're finished, I want you to export it, export the composition as a video, upload it to YouTube or Vimeo or whatever video sharing website you want to use. As long as I can see it, that's all I really care. And then take the URL and then basically make give it to me in a text document. So in other words, here's, I just made a new text document in TextEdit or Microsoft Word or whatever you want to use. I don't care. And I'm going to save it, file, save, let's pretend this is like a lab, YouTube link or something like that. Okay. And you would submit this, and then I would basically, copy and paste this into a browser so that I can see the work. Okay. So this is the process of exporting and then, exporting a project or a lab that you're working on and letting me see it so I can see the quality of the work and make sure it's, been done well. Okay. All right, that's it for today. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the homework that you guys are going to work on with all the things that we've discussed today.